Acknowledge me.
Okay, so I think I finally understand why WWE might have been hesitant about bringing Jacob Fatu into the bloodline. And this segment alone shows me why, right? All right, so there is an aspect of storytelling that has kind of been not well used by a lot of wrestlers or superstars, right? There is a visual element that I think guys like Cody Rhodes kind of understands it, and like Dolph Ziggler. Um, I've seen Cody use it when he had to like relinquish the match to The Rock. Like he used it in that moment. The looks on his face like told a story within the story, right? How he was feeling in that moment. Jacob Fatu does a similar thing right here, right? And when it was his time to acknowledge Solo as the lead, what he did, he actually went as far as to bow, to do a gesture, right? There, it's those little things. Because, all right, let's say I was somebody that had never watched WWE before, and this was the first segment that I actually caught, right? I don't know any of these guys, but seeing um, Jacob pace around the ring, seeing him look at Solo the way that he was and everything that he said, reacting to every word, pretty much every sentence and every pause, he like almost showed that this was something important that you had to watch, right? To see his reaction and to actually hear what Solo was saying. Neither of the Tongans really did that. They did, they did say it. Yes, they did say I acknowledge you, but the added layer of seeing Jacob like visually being in the moment and telling that aspect of the story, I can see why they're worried about him taking over the bloodline. But let me play devil's advocate. Would that be so bad if he did take over the bloodline? Because, all right, this is how I would do it if I was the one writing the script. I've been kind of thinking about it, and if if he was to indeed take over the bloodline, I would. All right, let's say it was as early as next week. They decided, all right, we want to switch out Solo for him. How I would do it, I wouldn't necessarily just have him railroad Solo out of the role. I would like have him come in a suit, maybe look somber with a letter, and him call out Solo and say that the elders saw what you did to Paul Heyman. You ordered us to do to Paul Heyman, and a part of the reason that I was brought in, as you know, was not just to enforce, but also to advise on behalf of the elders in the bloodline. One of those elders being the High Chief. So you see right there, that's how they could bring in the Rock, right? I'm doing some frying right now, but I'm trying to cook while, while I'm going over this. So, what they could do, they could have him say that the elders think that they saw what you've been doing and they like that you've been trying to, bring your own spin on being the tribal chief. We acknowledge your efforts, um, but we feel that you're not quite ready yet. So we have decided that in the interim to bolster your position and make you better, we want you to shadow Jacob Fatu as he becomes, interim leader. That's one way they could play it. There's a hundred other ways, um, but that's how I think I would approach it if it was me planning this out. Um, if he does take over, or if he does, get to the point where he does, uh, get to show off his true capabilities, hopefully, it does go over well, and it does resonate well with the WWE crowd. Um, he has shown to be energetic, and uh, he has aura. I can, probably I can confidently say that. I've seen that he does definitely have that aura. If you look at any of his work outside of WWE, you can see that he is definitely confident in himself and he knows who he is as a person. I think that's a part of what Solo needs to kind of fully grasp because when he does grasp that, he'll probably come into his own a lot more. Because now with how Soul has been dressing and everything, kind of looks more like a costume than to say just something that fits, you know? Like he's playing the tribal chief rather than a tribal chief being an extension of what he is as a person. But as I say, if Jacob does take over whether next week or a couple months down the line, right before maybe Roman does come back, hopefully it's handled uh, pretty good. And if it does happen, I know that the match that Roman and Jacob would have would be amazing. And for one, would be really interested to see how that plays out if that were to happen. But if that doesn't, it would still be good for Solo to have Jacob in the bloodline because one thing about like when you have certain levels of charisma and stuff, it can rub off, and hopefully it does. And he can like give Solo pointers about how to develop his character further. Because I remember it took Roman almost a decade to get to tribal chief status. Just hope that Solo just has a shorter learning curve. All right. So he has been doing well. You see that Paul Heyman is kind of out of the picture. And I guess we'll see who will become the new wise man. Maybe Samoa Joe, who knows? All right. That would be an interesting spin to see Samoa Joe come back in that capacity, although he isn't technically a member of the Anoa'i family, but they could find a way to write him in. And that would be a really good bolster for the bloodline because he is an anti-hero type character, and so him giving advice would kind of give him a fresh approach to his character, but let's see if a takeover is imminent or we'll just use the talents of these guys to kind of build out the character. All right, so getting a phone call, so I guess that's the video. All right.